I'm Lynn Fox, and today we are going to interaction number 5 of TESA. The interaction is called Praise of Learning Performance, and it is under Strand B, which is feedback. So we know that, first of all, once we get kids engaged in their learning, that they may or may not get it correct, and we're letting them know that it is correct or incorrect. Now, under the feedback, we are now moving forward, because remember, TESA is hierarchical and sequential. So we start with the easiest, and then we build on to it, just like we're teaching a content area or a particular lesson. So today we're looking at praise, and we're going to really simplify it, because what happens in the classroom and in life, most parents and teachers and even friends, we often see the negatives rather than the positives. As a matter of fact, there is a statistic that says that we say 3 negatives to every positive, and that's the best teachers out there. So we're going to work toward positive, genuine comments for students that actually did something to earn it. So today we're talking about praise. A couple of things that we're going to do is become creative. Good job. Good try, well done are words that become kind of superficial and they're overused. So we're going to do a little bit of thinking outside the box, and we're going to come up with some new vocabulary. And one of the things that you can do is type up a list, write up a list, so that when you're grading papers, you are not using the same old adjectives to give praise, but you might think of words like congratulations on this, or amazing thinking, very cooperative work done here, good question. But just think of all the superlatives you can think about and just have it there. And then when you come up with something, then write that down, or start working on that, and you will begin to use new vocabulary that has more meaning and is more motivational. So another thing that you can think about is when you are praising, it really needs to be specific, not global. And so often we find one piece of it and we give a positive, and it's taken that everything's okay, and so the kid walks away and thinks, oh, I got it right, when in fact they only got maybe 10% of it right. So it's very significant that you say exactly what it is for, and if possible why, which is a later interaction actually. So with adolescents, oftentimes they don't like to be praised in public. They much prefer something in writing, or when you're when they're walking in the room, or you're walking in the room and you privately say, that was a really good essay. Now younger children, they do like the spotlight, and so feel free to say things in public. Once again, it always varies with an individual, but for the most part. Another thing that is important is make sure that you relate the praise to the action, not so much to the person or the individual. It's what they did versus who they are, because so often individuals, and especially children, when you say something negative or positive, it's like pasted on the front of their forehead, and they walk around either feeling good about themselves or negative. It's not about them as an individual, it's about the task that they did, the action they took, and whether it was correct or incorrect, and whether it was a good job. So on that note, I'm turning this over to Sandra Elliott, and she will tell you more about our book and where you can find a lot of good ideas, as well as some other creative ideas.
To continue with talking about how to give praise effectively, I'd like to refer to our little book, Make a Difference in a Day, and some advantages of using it, particularly if you're a sub, and again, a beginning teacher. And what we're really talking about here is motivating and positive reinforcement. And so you want to emphasize, you want to encourage, you want to reward, and put a spotlight on what they're doing right. And you also want to be clear, and you can do this individually, that you can learn from your mistakes. So taking a look at our little book, there are actually 4 pages that cover capture the positives and how to use praise more effectively, pages 45 through 48. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about the illustration and why there's an illustration, because students learn differently, and a visual kind of helps. So myself as the illustrator, I used the idea of a recipe. And let's review the recipe. What you need for effective praise is definitely 3 very large tablespoons of sincerity. You got to mean it. They know if you're not being sincere or you're being too global. Secondly, directness. And I think that's connected to clarity. Remember, we were talking about clear instructions, so they know what they're doing. About a half a cup of simplicity, and this would be that you're being specific and clear, and you've written down the steps so they know where they're going. Adding specific phrases as needed. Now, remember, Dr. Fox mentioned if you had even a list, and stop referring to great job, because it has no meaning after a while. Use sparingly. And this is a hard thing because naturally you want to encourage your students to do well. But it's like overwatering a garden. If you overwater it, you will actually kill the plants. So if you follow those instructions and remember some of the steps that we talked about, I think you will feel much better about how your students are responding to praise. So hopefully these ideas will be useful to you in the classroom.